You know what's wild? The best-written Star Wars show didn't have a single lightsaber in it. No chosen one. No ancient prophecy. No epic duel to end the galaxy. Just people. Scared. Cornered. Desperate to matter in a system that was designed to forget them. And somehow, that made it more powerful than any Force ability ever could. From the very first episode, Andor throws you into a world where survival means compromise, where silence is safety, and where hope is something you have to earn, not something handed down by a legacy name. This isn't the galaxy we're used to. It's darker, slower, and so much more real. And that reality makes every decision hit harder. Characters in this show don't fight for destiny. They fight because they have no other choice. They're not superheroes. They're workers, prisoners, spies, liars, and maybe even something close to heroes if they're lucky. But they never feel fake, never feel hollow. Every word they say is heavy, and every moment builds towards something you can feel in your chest. There's no room for filler here. No flashy distraction to cover up weak dialogue or rushed scenes. Every moment breathes. Every choice matters. And when the tension finally explodes, it's not a battle between light and dark. It's between what you believe and what you're willing to do for it. That's the kind of storytelling Star Wars forgot it could do. It's not just that Andor is different. It's that it refuses to play by the usual rules. It doesn't care about tradition or formula. It cares about people, about pressure, about what happens when you finally say enough, and that choice to go deeper, to go quieter, made it unforgettable. In this video, we're going to explore why Andor might be the best-written Star Wars show of all time. We'll break down the character work, the pacing, the world-building, and how it tells one of the most human stories in the entire galaxy far, far away. Andor was a strange pitch from the start. A show about a side character from a spin-off movie that ended in everyone dying. No lightsabers, no Jedi, no grand space battles to kick it off. Just tension, silence, and a guy trying to stay alive. On paper, it shouldn't have worked, but it ended up delivering something Star Wars hadn't done in a long time. It made us listen. The very first episode sets a tone that feels more like a spy thriller than a space opera. You're dropped into a world that doesn't explain itself, and that's what makes it so gripping. The Empire isn't some cartoon villain here. It's a machine built on order, and fear, and silence. And Cassian isn't a hero yet. He's just trying to survive another day. What's wild is how that simplicity becomes the show's greatest strength. Every decision matters. Every character feels like they have a life outside the screen. You're not just watching a story, you're watching people exist in it. That's something even the biggest Star Wars shows haven't always pulled off. And it all comes together without needing a single lightsaber. Not because they're bad, but because the writing doesn't depend on them. It trusts the audience to care about people and choices, not just spectacle. That shift alone makes Andor stand apart from nearly everything else Disney has made for this universe. When you compare Andor to other recent Star Wars shows, it's hard not to get frustrated. Most of them rely on nostalgia, big cameos or lightsaber duels to keep fans engaged. And look, that stuff can be fun, but without strong writing, it starts to feel empty. Andor didn't need any of that, because it actually respected its characters and audience. You get scenes where characters argue about strategy, sacrifice, politics, and none of it feels forced. They're not talking in riddles or explaining the plot to the viewer. They're having real conversations with real tension. It's focused, it's patient, and most of all, it's grounded. You don't see that often in sci-fi anymore, let alone Star Wars. Shows like Obi-Wan or Book of Boba Fett tried to build emotional moments, but didn't always earn them. Dialogue often felt rushed or shallow. Characters were sometimes reduced to their legacy rather than their choices. But in Andor, even the side characters are treated with care. You know what they want, and you know what it will cost them. And that's the thing. When writing is this solid, you don't need explosions or force powers to keep the audience hooked. You just need people with real stakes, complex motivations, and situations that challenge them to grow. That's what makes Andor not just a great Star Wars show, but a great show, period. It's not about tearing down the rest of the franchise. It's about raising the bar again. Andor didn't forget what Star Wars could be. It reminded everyone else what they stopped paying attention to. What makes Andor so powerful is how deeply it leans into the personal cost of rebellion. You don't just see blasters and speeches, you see the pain behind every choice. You see what people are forced to give up, just to survive, or to make a small difference in a system that barely notices them. Characters like Kino Loy, who leads a prison uprising knowing full well he may never see freedom, or Mon Mothma, who has to sacrifice her daughter's future to protect the movement. These moments aren't treated like background drama. They are the story. They show what fighting back really means, and how heavy that burden becomes over time. Cassian himself isn't spared either. He doesn't start as a hero, and honestly, he never fully becomes one. He loses people, gets betrayed, sees his home ripped apart, and still keeps going. Not because he wants glory, but because he slowly realizes that doing nothing is even worse. There's no celebration when someone dies, no swelling music when a victory happens, just the quiet aftermath. The faces of people who now carry another scar. Andor doesn't shy away from that. It forces you to feel it. And that makes every decision in the show carry more emotional weight than most galactic battles ever could. One of the most surprising things Andor pulled off was making the Empire feel genuinely terrifying again. Not because of one all-powerful villain, but because of the system itself. The way rules are enforced, the way fear spreads through bureaucracy, and how regular people are forced to become part of something much bigger than they understand. You see it in the prison arc, the corporate security systems, in the way normal citizens are watched, silenced, and punished, and none of it is loud. It's subtle, creeping, the kind of control that feels impossible to escape. It's what makes it so chilling, because it doesn't feel like fantasy anymore. It feels familiar. The ISB meetings, Dedra Meero's obsession with order, the way everyone's afraid to speak too loudly. That stuff hits hard because it's grounded in real-world fear. The show doesn't exaggerate, it reveals. And suddenly, the Empire isn't just a villainous backdrop, it's the main threat, constantly present in every scene. Even the set design helps. It's cold, sterile, functional. Every wall feels like it's watching you, and that attention to detail pulls you deeper into the world than most big-budget shows manage to do. You're not just watching events unfold, you're feeling the tension in the room with the characters. That level of immersion doesn't come from flashy effects. It comes from trust in the audience. Trust that we'll notice the quiet danger, and feel the impact of every decision made in the shadows. Despite how bleak Andor gets, it never lets go of the idea that people can make a difference. It's not hopeful in a loud or obvious way. It's in the small moments. A prisoner refusing to sit down, a mother planting a seed of rebellion, a speech that finally makes someone stand up and say, "Enough." Every act of defiance in this show feels earned, not because of destiny, but because of conviction. These characters aren't chosen by the Force, they're choosing themselves. And that's what makes the rebellion feel real. You watch people find purpose in the middle of chaos, and it's honestly inspiring. Luthen's monologue about sacrificing everything for a future he'll never see is one of the most powerful scenes in any Star Wars story. It's raw, it's honest, and it explains exactly what it means to fight for something bigger than yourself. That's not fantasy. That's real heroism. Even Cassian's arc isn't about saving the galaxy. It's about becoming someone who cares enough to try. That change, from survival to sacrifice, is what makes him matter. Not because of his skills, but because of his heart. And when you watch that growth happen slowly, over time, it hits way harder than any lightsaber ever could. Andor reminds us that rebellion starts small, with a whisper, a choice, a single moment of courage. And that message is more powerful than any Force prophecy. When you look back at what Andor pulled off, it's honestly kind of shocking. No Jedi, no chosen ones, no lightsabers swinging through the air. And yet, it managed to tell one of the most personal, grounded, and meaningful stories in all of Star Wars. It didn't rely on spectacle, it relied on truth. It showed us that the galaxy is big enough to matter, even without the Force. That regular people, making small choices, can shape the fate of everything around them. It wasn't just a rebellion against the Empire, it was a rebellion against the idea that Star Wars needs to look a certain way to be good. The writing, the characters, the world, all came together to prove that storytelling still matters in this universe. Andor didn't just entertain, it challenged. It made us ask questions, think harder, and care more about the people behind the cause. It didn't play it safe. It didn't chase trends. It trusted its tone, trusted its structure, and let the emotional weight build naturally. That takes real confidence, and that's exactly why it worked. So if you're wondering how a Star Wars show with no lightsabers became one of the best stories this franchise has ever told, it's simple, because Andor remembered something everyone else forgot. You don't need magic, when the truth is this powerful. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video, blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows. And Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games, like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.